Welcome back, my pack, my tribe, to Howling After Dark, Ancient World Part 2. Okay, so, one thing I just thought of, like, during our little break here, is, I kind of want to pedal back a little bit. At the beginning of Hour 1, I was talking about ancient Cairo. And, one thing I kind of wanted to mention, even though it's not, like, directly uh, related, I guess, um, is let me see if I can find. Um, there's actually a picture I'm trying to find that from Cairo. I guess this is the best one I'm going to find. Now this I'm going to post is keep in mind this is an older picture than the one I was actually looking for, but it does kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. Let me see if this will even post. It may not. No, well, it kind of did, just didn't show the picture. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to the picture I'm talking about. In Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, they believe that they have discovered a second Sphinx, which kind of would make sense because I do know that even according to all the history they've been able to find on Cairo from that time period, there were supposed to be a male and a female. So there's always supposed to be more than one, and I don't know what historians used to believe. I guess they just believed the second one was never built or something. I don't know, but there is actually new data to suggest that the second Sphinx was built and that the remains of it are buried underneath this mound of sand that you see in the picture. Which, by the way, looks a lot different today. They've done a lot of work on it. But what I wanted to point out is that, like, there's another picture here I'm going to post as well because it kind of shows the kind of like the overview, I guess, of how these sphinxes would have been situated. Let me see, where is it? Because like even nowadays, like if you look how the existing Sphinx, the one that we've always known about, the only one that's famous now because it's got the big broken nose. If you look at it, it's off to one side of the big pyramid. I can't find the picture I'm looking for. But it's off to like if you're looking at the Sphinx in the face, in the background, the main pyramid will be off to your right. So the Sphinx is on the left hand side of the main pyramid. Well, why would they build just one? Why wouldn't they put another one on the opposite side? It only makes sense as that was intended to be like the entryway into that area where the pyramids are. Now, this is kind of sort of what I'm talking about. I mean, it's kind of a cartoony picture, but it does kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. Um, so there's that one too. Um, but the interesting thing is, and I can't really illustrate it with a picture, unfortunately. Um, it's just my particular belief, I guess. But what's interesting about that is if you were to draw a line from each sphinx to the pyramid, and then from one sphinx to the other, it makes a triangle, which is the basic shape of a pyramid, number one. And number two, those lines from each sphinx to the pyramid are almost within a perfect line to ley lines that to the pyramid, and that main pyramid, the big one, is built on a nexus point. Now, of course, like I said, I can't prove that to you. There is no way for me to prove that to you. I know what I know, and if you choose to believe it, cool. If you choose not to believe it, that's cool too. But there you have it. I wanted to illustrate that because I don't think I really nailed that point when I was first talking about it in hour one. So there you go. Okay, so now we come to. I still consider America to be the ancient world. I want that understood. A lot of people think of America as the New World because it's how it was referred to. But in actuality, it's just as old as any other part of the world. It's just that white people hadn't discovered it yet. And therefore, I guess it doesn't count by their standards or whatever. I don't know. It just seems silly to me. Anyways, sorry, getting off topic here. But it's actually just as old as anywhere else. We've got our own mysteries that are just as old as Egypt and ancient Rome and all that stuff. And you got to figure that like the same time that ancient Rome was being built, the same time that the pyramids were being built, is about the same time that the Anasazi ruins in New Mexico and Arizona were being built. About the same time. It's about the same time that the pyramids in South America and Mexico, the Mayan and Incan temples and pyramids were being built. About the same time. So it's not really old world, new world. I know that that's semantics, but I've always kind of felt like that was kind of a prejudiced point of view, and so I wanted to correct that for my own satisfaction, I guess. But speaking of uh, South America. Machu Picchu is another one of those places that is built on a ley line, and it has had a lot of haunted activity and UFO activity actually, and they have their own version of Bigfoot in that area that is predominantly seen around Machu Picchu. Which, if you don't know what Machu Picchu is, hold on, let me see if I can't locate a picture for you real quick. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over TV and stuff, but it was basically it's Mayan ruins that and they're actually very well constructed. They've actually withstood the test of time quite well overall. And here you'll see what I mean. Let me just there we go. But Ghost Hunters International did a investigation there um, that was pretty crazy. Actually, some of the stuff they were getting. Um, but I mean, look at that place. I mean, like almost you can tell almost it was almost built for paranormal activity. I mean, just look at it. I mean, like it was almost like they were trying to trap something, like because it's kind of maze-like, and I don't know. I think they were very aware of spirits. I think that they were trying to kind of make a home for them. That's my theory, anyways. And you know, it's kind of interesting now that I'm thinking about. I think Cairo could be another example of that because the more ancient part of Cairo isn't even there anymore. Uh, the ancient part of Cairo used to kind of surround the area where the pyramids are. Most of it is underneath the sand now. Um, and that was kind of like the the where all the craftsmen that built the pyramids actually lived, kind of in that area, and most of them would have been probably slaves. And so therefore it was a much poorer like neighborhood. It's kind of where the ghettos were, so to speak. And so like modern day Cairo is kind of like where all the uh, more wealthy and politically relevant, I guess, people would have lived. So, yeah, interesting. Um, Here's one of uh, the Anasazi ruins. Right there, as you can see right there in chat. So yes, thank you. It actually posted the picture itself. So cool. If you actually look on that picture, you can't see it now, but if you were to actually go there, you could see what I'm talking about. But if you look right there in the front of the ruins there, uh, there's like these kind of round looking things. They were basically like wells, sort of. Um, they were built that way to actually catch rainwater, and they were actually the only part of the structure that went past the face of the cliff. So, like everything else you see there is actually built into that overhang underneath the cliff. And what the purpose of this was is it would catch rainwater, and then on the inside of it, if you go in there and you look, you may or may not, depending on which one you go to, because there's more than one. But if you go to the one that's pictured there, unless something's changed that I'm unaware of, if you look down into that kind of like man-made pit there, that well, whatever you want to call it, uh, you'll see like a wooden beam, or where a wooden beam could have been placed. And what that beam was for is it actually held a water wheel, because the part of this culture that you don't see is what this water wheel would do is it would dip into, like say they needed water, right? and and they had some decent range, so what they would do is they would have it hooked up by rope that would actually go over that top wall there, so that all they had to do is they had to pull on that rope, and it would actually free the water wheel into turning. And what the water wheel would do is it would turn, like a normal water wheel would, and it would dump these kind of like buckets of water into a trough that they could extend over the wall into stone troughs that were actually built into the architecture that would allow water to travel throughout the entire village. And in addition to that, and almost as brilliant, actually, was because they realized that, they lived in a desert pretty much, and that, water isn't going to last forever. So what a lot of these people would do is they would make like these water like containers out of like animal hides, or what some of them would do is they would like cut the ends off of like a cactus take all the needles off and kind of like hollow out the insides and use and kind of make a pocket out of it, and they would extend it on poles over the tops of the walls because they realized that even though it's a desert, like anywhere else in the world, overnight it gets very cold. And when it's cold, even though it's a desert, there's more moisture in the air, and they could catch it. So, no, sorry to burst people's bubble, but no, ancient Rome and Greece and Egypt were not the only advanced societies in the world. We had them too. In fact, once again, sorry to burst your bubble there, white people, but you wouldn't have made it in this country past the first day if it were not for us. Just saying. Anyways, so once again, this picture you're seeing here, this is actually the main hub of the Anasazi Society. There were other villages and other cities built by the Anasazi throughout New Mexico and Utah, Colorado, and Arizona, but this is kind of like the capital, at least as far as we can tell, because it's the largest one that they've ever found. And therefore, it had a lot of advantages that maybe others didn't have. And it's a big mystery. It's been one of the biggest mysteries in the world. People have heard me talk about it before. The Anasazi disappeared overnight, and nobody, even to this day, knows what happened to them. I mean, we know that some of them split off and became like the Navajo, which are, as it turns out, some of my people. The Hopi, the Comanche, and the Apache, and all that, and the Ute. But the greater majority of them, because there were over 1 million Anasazi at this time, just boom, disappeared. And the same thing happened again in the Roanoke colony in Virginia. Exact same thing. People disappeared overnight and nobody knows what happened. It's a mystery. And who doesn't love a mystery? You know, and just the mystery alone is enough to captivate us, but now there's like all this paranormal activity taking place too. Well, to be honest, Anasazi ruins have always had paranormal activity. Has always been super crazy. You're technically not allowed to be there at night, so even me admitting this to you could possibly get me in hot water, so to speak. But I've actually been there at night. No one's really supposed to be there at night, but I've actually been there at night, and I can tell you that place is friggin' haunted, and always has been, as far as, you know, as far back as anybody I've ever even talked to about it can remember. But what I can tell you is my personal experience was there's actually an area, you can't actually see it in the picture, but if you look slightly like behind where that well is, there's kind of a tower with like windows cut into it, and right there is actually where the main entrance into the place was, because they actually used ladders to get into the place that they could draw back. So warring rival tribes couldn't get into their village. And I've actually been in there, and there's actually an area on the other side of that tower that was like basically like a playground. It's where it was an area specifically for the children to play. If you go in there, you can see how the area was set up for games. Like there was an Indian game that is very akin to modern day soccer that was very popular with children back then. And you can actually see the remnants of that. You can see how the wall was cut to make almost like the goalposts, so to speak. And it's just, that alone makes it worth checking it out and seeing, because they're crazy. Um, they're crazy with the activity, and it's crazy how advanced they were. And um, the same could be said of Machu Picchu. They were an advanced society. I mean, yeah, they were very superstitious, and they did do things like human sacrifice and all that. They were Mayans after all, but they were also very advanced. They had modern farming. Like if you look at that picture of Machu Picchu, you'll notice that there's a big open area kind of in the center, and they actually used to grow crops there. And it was built that way on purpose, so that like you had to go into the middle of the city to get to it, and therefore it was defended. You know, they had I don't think quite as advanced, but I still think pretty advanced water system too. They had like rain catchers and they are actually in a part of South America where it rained quite a bit, so they probably didn't need a water wheel. But they had have something akin to like the Roman aqueducts built into their city, which you can see remnants of in certain parts of it even today. So these aren't like joke societies; these are advanced societies, which makes me wonder. They were all built on these spots in the world where ley lines are very active and spiritual activity is very active. I don't think that was an accident. I think that there were probably people like me back then that could see things or could sense them, or were somehow tapped into that kind of wavelength that kind of guided, hey, we're going to build here. And I think it's very telling that the Anasazi disappeared when they did, because ever since their time, up until, obviously we were put on reservations, the majority of Native Americans were widely nomadic. So, in other words, the Anasazi were really, in a way, kind of the first and last time, really, in a lot of ways, that any kind of permanent home was ever built, and they disappeared, which I don't think is an accident either. The closest thing to like a permanent home since then was like the eastern tribes, like some of the Cherokee and the Iroquois Confederacy, and like the Mohicans who built like the wooden longhouses. Um, but even then, those weren't meant to be like a permanent situation then either, because even with them, they realized that staying in one spot for too long wasn't healthy for them. Because you got to understand something. This is your quintessential hunter-gatherer society, and their food consisted of. They did eat vegetables too, so they weren't just meat eaters, but it did consist largely of meat, and the meat that they got was whatever they hunted. And so they had to follow the big buffalo herds around, and and they also had to consider the weather. They understood that like certain areas were good like during the summer, but not in the winter. They understood these things. Um, and that's something, I think mankind definitely lost. And I'm not trying to pick on white people, but it is something they've lost since the arrival of the white settler, because like we had no concept of land ownership really. Um, we thought the idea of owning land was absolutely ridiculous, because how can you own land when you're owned by it? You know. I think on some level, even today, most natives have a hard time understanding that lack of relationship with nature, even though a lot of us aren't doing all that great. There's gangs on the reservation now, people. Yeah, gangs. Like the alcohol and boozing and basically killing ourselves with booze wasn't enough. Now we've got gangs doing drive-bys on the res. I tell you, it's a good thing I don't live on the res right now. That's all I'm saying. Because I would be beating the shit out of some youngsters right now, let me tell you. Anywho, sorry, a little side tangent there. Don't get me wrong. I understand the warrior attitude. That's not the problem I have. The problem I have is with Indians messing with Indians. Okay. I'm getting off that topic now. Anywho, so like, yeah, in a lot of ways, the Anasazi uh, cliff dwellings were really kind of the first and the last of any kind of permanent home, with the exception of like the Navajo and Hopi that built adobe houses. Um, but they lived in a very dry climate where in, the weather never really changed all that much. The biggest thing they ever really had to worry about really was like either flat out drought or flash floods. They never really had to worry about weather changes other than that all that much. So it's kind of understandable with them, but the majority of Native Americans were more nomadic, and I don't know. I just kind of think it's a shame that we're not anymore. I mean, not just us, but like people in general. We've destroyed so much of the land building, what we saw as permanent homes, but look at our permanent homes when, there's nothing left of the world to support it, anyways. Sorry, taking a drag off my vape, my vaporizer. Good stuff. By the way, if you don't vape, if you're a smoker, look, I'm not one of those people that is going to sit here and tell you, oh, well, smoking's bad for you, because I don't fucking believe that shit for a minute. I think smoking like name brand cigarettes is bad for you because all the shit they put in it. But just smoking like actual natural tobacco, I don't believe for a second is bad for you. But having said that, I did start smoking vape, and I actually enjoy it quite a bit. I like the taste of it. Is the thing, because like the juice I get actually, it's menthol, but it almost has like this fruit aftertaste. It's really like almost like a peachy aftertaste I actually really enjoy. So I've just been doing that and haven't really smoked in probably like, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe. So there you go. Um, there's my public announcement. um, Another announcement I'd like to make while I'm thinking about it. I'm really excited. We have, well, we have an investigation coming up on Saturday that's going to be cool because it's just our team, and I love it when it's just our team usually, and it's our favorite. Well, one of our favorite places is the old gas company, and it won't be part of the web series because we've already done that. But I will be filming it and putting it on YouTube regardless, as well as probably all the review EVPs and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then on May 2nd, we are filming for the web series with our friends from HPI, Historical Paranormal Investigators. My buddy Jose Amasquita and his team are going to be coming, and I get a kind of do-over in a way, because like I talked about, I think it was on Monday. Yeah, it was on Monday. I was talking about how I didn't interview everybody on his team, and I kind of felt bad about that, especially considering how it was Megan's first investigation, and she was really nervous, and I wish I would have known that because I would have taken more time, um, make her feel more at home, I guess. I don't know. I'm just like that or whatever. But yeah, so Yeah, I'm really excited about that May 2nd. I friggin' can't wait. Sorry. So there's the announcements for tonight. Another place actually kind of associated with New Mexico and associated with the Anasazi in a roundabout kind of way is actually Navajo creation, uh, referred to as the Sacred Circle. It's a circle made out of stones, not like Stonehenge. It's an actual circle made out of large stones. They still can't figure out how it was built, but it looks ritualistic in nature, and they believe it was built by ancient Navajo uh, sometime before the arrival of white settlers. They don't know exactly when. I mean, they have like carbon dated the rocks and stuff, but it hasn't given them really anything to go on because they're dated from all over the place. There's no way to really tell. And so they don't know when it was built or how they built it, but it has got crazy activity. And then there's some natural sites too, like there's a place called Sonora in Arizona. I think actually part of it does go into New Mexico, where like these natural vortexes are. Where like, and I swear to God, if you don't believe me, you can go there and check this out for yourself. You can actually go there and stand in one of these spots, and you feel energized. It's like every toxin, every bad thing in your system has been instantly cleansed, and you're like energized. You're like almost hyper. So if you ever get the opportunity to go to Sonora, definitely go check that out. You will not at all be disappointed. I can promise you that. And regardless of whether you're a believer or not, you'll end up believing in that place by the time you're done. You might come up with some scientific reason to explain it all away, like, oh, natural electromagnetism or whatever, but I don't know. I think the super kind of closed-minded scientists really drive me insane. I'm just saying. Because they refuse to believe stuff like that. And, like I said, I can't change anybody's mind. I can only hope to open it, but, you know, not everything has to be explained. And I don't understand why some people don't get that. Some things you just take on faith. Anywho. Alright, we got about 50 seconds left, folks. I don't know what we're doing for next week yet. Oh, wait, yes, I do. Monday is going to be an EVP night. We're going to play EVPs from Saturday's investigation, which I don't know what we're going to get, but if past history with this place is any indication, the old gas company is going to be off the hook, and you're not going to be disappointed at all. So that's going to be Monday night. And then I think Wednesday night what I'm going to do is maybe paranormal news. I don't know. I'll let you know. I haven't figured it out yet. But until next time, my pack, my tribe, peace out.